So what do you say about a team that goes 60-30 down the stretch and doesn't make the MLB playoffs? Well, this was an occasion in 1985 where the Blue Jays had the best overall record, but the best team in the NL East in the second half of that season was obviously the New York Yankees, and I tell you why. If you do the rough numbers, there were 40 and 30 from July 1st on. So just tremendous. The only lost 10 games at home from July to October, but yet they didn't make the playoffs. They had a very good team that year. And Yogi Berra and Billy Martin again joined together to manage the club, and were not a few key losses to Detroit and Toronto regular season, again, they would have won the division. 97 wins deserves a division title, and I think that's why the wild card system was put in later on, because it was more fair to teams like the Yankees. Now, they finished 2 games behind Toronto that year, who are at 99-62. The road record again for the Yankees, 58-22, but only 39-42, and that was because a very tough start to the season. They went 6-12 in April, and to come all the way back to almost win the division was tremendous. Now, ironically, the team only played 161 games that year because of rainouts and other delays, and again finished 2 games behind the Blue Jays. Now, this marked for many, a failed season for the Yankees, and of course, Billy Martin was pretty well out of there by the end of the decade. Now, some interesting player movements in the off season. Matt Keogh was released by the Yankees in November, and Ray Fontenot and Brian Diet were traded by the Yankees to the Cubs for Ron Hassey, their new catcher, Porfi Altamirano, Rick Bordy, and Henry Cotto. Now, on December 5th, Rick Cerone was traded by the Yankees for Brian Fisher. Now, the big deal, of course, came in December when Stan Javier, Jay Howell, Jose Rizzo, Eric Plunk, and Tim Bastas were traded by the Yankees Athletics for Ricky Henderson, Burt Bradley, and Cash. And, of course, they became a Billy Ball team with Billy Martin that year. Now, in December 2084, Steve Kemp, Tim Foley, and Cash were traded to the Yankees, the Pittsburgh Pirates for Jay Buhner, Yogi Berra's son Dale, and Alfonso Pulido. Berra became the first player since 25, when Earl Mack played for his father, Connie Mack, for Athletics, to play for his father as a manager. Now, on December 27, 84, Ed Whitson was signed as a free agent by the Yankees. Now, on February 27, 85, the Toby Hara experiment ended. I was traded by the Yankees to the Rangers for Billy Sample and a player to be named later. The Rangers completed the deal by sending Aaron Dursan, a minor league player, to the Yankees on July 14th. Now, Henderson set a new club record by stealing 80 games in the campaign, and the previous one had stood since 1914. Now, Henderson also scored 146 runs. It was the most in the major leagues since Ted Williams scored 150 in 1949. In addition, Henderson became the first player since Lou Gehrig in 36 to amass more runs in a season than games played. Now, Don Mattingly had another strong season. He became the first Yankee since Joe DiMaggio to have back-to-back 200-hit seasons. Now, Mattingly's 48 doubles were the most since Lou Gehrig's 52 and 27. He was also the AL MVP and RBI leader with 145. 324 average with 35 homers. Now, Dave Winfield also had a good campaign. He became the first Yankee since Yogi Berra to achieve 4 straight 100 RBI seasons, as Berra did it from 53 to 56. Now, this is the big change. On April 28th, the Yankees fired Yogi Berra as manager 16 games of the season, only hours after being swept by the White Sox in a 3-game series at Comiskey. Owner George Steinbrenner did not fire Berra personally, but instead dispatched GM Clyde King to deliver the news. Berra, of course, was replaced by Billy Martin, who he replaced as manager after the 83 season. It became the fourth of Martin's 5 stints as Yankee skipper. Berra vowed after the slight to never again set foot in Yankee Stadium as long as Steinbrenner owned the team. Now, on December 22nd, while at a hotel bar in Baltimore, pitcher Ed Whitson broke manager Billy Martin's arm after a heated argument that spread to other parts of the hotel. Whitson's Yankee tenure was always memorable for constantly being heckled and booed during home games. And again, he not a very popular player in Yankee land. Now, ironically, on October 5th, The Yankees entered the next to last game of the season against the division-leading Toronto Blue Jays, trailing them by 2 games. They still had a chance to win the division. However, the Jays, led by pitcher for hire Dole Alexander, triumphed 5-4, clinching the first division title in franchise history. Now, on October 6th, Phil Niekro shut out the Blue Jays 8-0 for his 300 Major League win. He did not throw his trademark knuckleball until the final pitch of the game, striking out former AL MVP Jeff Burroughs. Now, Tigers finished third in division, 84-77. Orioles were 83-78. Boston was 81-81. Milwaukee was 71-90. And Cleveland, one of their worst seasons ever, 60-102. Now, other transactions that year, Shane Turner was drafted by the Yankees in the 6th round of the 85 Major League Baseball draft. And then Jim Leyritz was signed by the Yankees as an amateur free agent in August. Now, the great Bernie Williams was signed by the Yankees as an amateur free agent on September 13, 85. And on September 13, 85 as well, Jim Deshaies and players they named later were traded by the Yankees to the Astros for Joe Niekro, who joined his brother Phil in the rotation. The Yankees completed the deal by sending Nieder Horta to the Astros on September 24th and Donny Rader, a minor league player, to the Astros on January 11th, 86. A very mishmash lineup, by the way, and I'll give you an example why. Very, very strong here. They had 5 players with 23 homers or more, but again, Mattingly had most of the stuff. Butch Warniger, the former Twin and a former rookie sensation, had 5 home runs and 32 RBIs with a minuscule .223 average as catcher. Mattingly went 324, 35, 145. Willie Randolph, the venerable second baseman, a good year, 5 home runs, 40 RBIs, 276, batting .276. Mike Pegliero, very underrated, 19 homers, 62 RBIs, .239 average. Bobby Meacham played a full season, but only batted .218, 1 home run. Ken Griffey Sr., the former Red, .274, the typical Griffey season, 10-69. Henderson, .314, 24 homers, 72 RBIs at leadoff. Winfield, 26 homers, 114 RBIs as cleanup. And of course, Don Baylor, the part-time DH, only batted .231 with 23 homers and 91 RBIs. Now, Ron Hassey at catcher, 13 homers, 42 RBIs. And look all the free agents, ladies and gentlemen. Dan Pasqua, Billy Sample, Andre Robertson, Dale Berra, Omar Moreno, the former Pirates sensation, Henry Cotto batted .304 in limited time, Rex Sudler, Scott Bradley, Juan Bonilla, Juan Espino, Victor Mata, and Keith Smith. Pitching, Guidry had another tremendous season, 22-6. Niekro was 16-12. Joe Cowley was 12-6. Ed Whitson was 10-8 despite being booed. I think that's 4.88 ERA, told the story. Marty Bystrom actually had spot duty, 3-2, and Niekro coming over in a late season acquisition, 2-1. Bob, don't call me Shirley, went 5-5. Dennis Rasmussen went 3-5, and John Count Montefusco in one of his last cups of water, 10.29 ERA in 3 games. Dave Righetti was the closer that season, 12-7 with 29 saves. Brian Fisher in spot duty had 14 saves, 4-4. Rich Bordy went 6-8 with 2 saves. Neil Allen went 1-0. Mike Armstrong and Don Cooper, and of course the holdover Dale Murray were 0-0, while Rod Scurry, the former Pirate, was 1-0. Now this year, Mattingly, Winfield, and Henderson made the All-Star team. Don Baylor won the Roberto Clemente Award. Guidry won a Gold Glove. Henderson was AL leader in stolen bases with 80. Major League Baseball leader run scored 146. Silver Slugger Award. Mattingly MVP and RBI leader. He won a Gold Glove and Silver Slugger. Winfield won a Silver Slugger and a Gold Glove. Now, in the farm system, of course, we had the Columbus Clippers. Stump Merrill was manager for the second half. Barry Foote led the Albany Colony Indians, Double-A. Bucky Dent led the Fort Lauderdale Yankees. Buck Showalter, the future Yankee skipper, Oneonta Yankees, in my grandmother-in-law's hometown. And the GCL Yankees, Carlos Tosca. Now, Oneonta, of course, won the championship of the short season A. Now, ladies and gentlemen, of course, the GCL Yankees won a rookie year. Ladies and gentlemen, I watched a lot of Yankee games that year, and it just seemed they were lacking focus. I mean, maybe they knew that the Blue Jays were going to pull it out. They did have some difficulty against Detroit, and but to go 60-30 and not make the playoffs, that was unfair. And I think, like the math was when the wild card system came in, this was the season pointed to. What the fact is, it felt the team that was going to win the AL East was going to win the World Series, but it never worked that way because Toronto choked against Kansas City, losing three straight in the ALCS because of the infamous, Al Oliver getting pulled, sort of like Tommy John with the Yankees and the '81 World Series. But the Yankee team, like they were very workmanlike, but he didn't have, the straw to stir the drink. I mean, but you see, Willie Randolph from 77 to 85 didn't lose a step. I think he basically, him and Guidry were the two key players that I wish they had two more of. Because if you would have, like, a Craig Nettles or a Lou Piniella, if they would have lasted a couple more seasons, but Don Baylor had a really good season. So, I mean, they're always doing something, but relying on only three players to win all your games. It's not going to work. That doesn't work in Toronto last year, with Chapman and Bichette and Guerrero. It didn't work, did it? So, I mean, you got to rely more on three players. And at most, they only had six solid hitters in the game. But it's funny about the Ed Woodson Bronx cheers, as we say. Boys, he was hated. I don't know what he ever did or said. But, eventually breaking Billy Martin's arm. Was Billy Martin reflective of the fans that despise him? Or I don't know what happened there. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're doing here with our New York Yankees Vintage Podcast, let us know in a like, comment, subscribe, or share. I think that the 85 season is a lost division title for the Yankees. Let me know what you think. But I think 60-30 speaks for itself, don't you think? And like I said, the Blue Jays just had too much key hitting on the road, and that's what transpired. Thanks for listening. Bye.